Unfortunately, a few days ago, Chadwick Boseman, or more commonly known as the Black Panther, passed away. And not only is this devastating for his family and friends as well as fans, but it's also a big hit on Hollywood, because not only was he a talented actor and he had such a powerful on-screen presence, but he was also such a great, humble guy. And I'll talk more about this later on in the video, but the simple truth is, Chadwick Boseman is a legend. Not only has he fought for destroying stereotypes of people of color and minorities, but also trying to diversify Hollywood. And he's done all of this while he's had cancer, and the struggle of fighting through cancer while he's been making films like Black Panther, which I think is incredible. Like, props to you, man. Now let's talk about Black Panther. Not only was it a wildly successful film and a very important film as well, but it was also one of the first superhero films with an all-black cast, especially with a black lead superhero. And obviously with the loss of the King of Wakanda, everyone has been wondering who will take up the new throne. Will it be Killmonger or will it be Shuri? And Disney have even said that we're not sure what's going to happen right now, but we are heartbroken and we're all mourning his loss. I think it is way too soon to tell what's going to happen, but if anything, I feel like Shuri is going to take over as the new queen of Wakanda, because that's what it says in the comics. And the thing is, Black Panther isn't just a normal superhero film. It's actually an important film because it's actually affected so many people around the world. Because for the first time, people of color have been able to see themselves represented as the hero of a story and not a secondary character or a drug dealer or someone that's poor, that's disadvantaged in some way, shape or form. Unfortunately, these stereotypes are actually very dangerous, because the more mainstream they become, the more people actually start to believe them as truth. This is why Black Panther is such an important film for a lot of people, because it just destroys these stereotypes. No longer do we see a person of color that's of a low social or economic status. In fact, we have a black lead superhero and an all-black cast. And I think this reaction pretty much sums up the best. Now, a black father was asked to comment on the film, and he said, "When I grew up, I had Superman. But when my kids grow up, they're gonna have the Black Panther. They're gonna have a black superhero, someone that they can look to and be like, he looks just like me." And I think this sends a powerful message of equal representation. For the first time, if you're a person of color, you can be a superhero too. Just as much as white superheroes have power, so do those of color. I want to show you a quick speech that Chadwick Boseman gave at his university at a graduation ceremony, and he talks about a bunch of stuff, but in particular I wanted to show you his struggles of defeating stereotypes and how he found his purpose.
It was a soap opera on a major network. With this soap opera gig, I was already promised to make six figures, more money than I had ever seen. Once I saw the role I was playing, I found myself conflicted. The role wasn't necessarily stereotypical. A young man in his formative years with a violent streak pulled into the allure of gang involvement. That's somebody's real story. Never judge the characters you play. That's what we were always taught. That's the first rule of acting. And any role played honestly can be empowering. But I was conflicted because this role seemed to be wrapped up in assumptions about us as black folk. The writing failed to search for specificity. Plus, there was barely a glimpse of positivity or talent in the character, barely a glimpse of hope. It was just my luck that after filming the first 2 episodes, execs of the show called me into their offices and told me how happy they were with my performance. They wanted me to be around for a long time. They said, if there was anything that I needed, just let them know. That was my opening. I decided to ask them some simple questions about the background of my character, questions that I felt were pertinent to the plot. Question number 1, where's my father? The exec answered, well, he left when you were younger. Of course. Question number 2, in this script it alluded to my mother not being equipped to operate as a good parent. So why exactly would my little brother and I have to go into foster care? Matter of factly, he answered, well, of course, she's on heroin. That could be real, I guess. But I didn't want to assume that's what it was. If we're around here assuming that the black characters in the show are criminals on drugs and deadbeat parents, then that would probably be stereotypical, wouldn't it? That word stereotypical lingered. One of the execs pulled out my resume and began studying it. The other exec wore a smile, trying to live up to what they had promised me only a few moments before. If there's anything you need, just let us know. She said, as you have seen, things move really fast around here. But we are more than happy to connect you with the writers if you have suggestions. Yeah, I said, that would be great. I said, because I'm just trying to do my homework on this. I didn't know if you guys had decided on all the facts, but maybe there's some things we could come up with, some talent or gift that we could build. Maybe he's really good at math or something. He has to be active. I'm doing my best not to play this character like a victim. So you went to Howard University, huh? The exec holding my resume interrupted, peeking over the pages. Yes, I said proudly. He slid my resume back in his desk and said, thank you for your concerns. We'll be watching you. I left the office. I shot the episode I had come in to shoot on that day. Probably the best one I did out of the 3 because I got what was bothering me off my chest. I was let go from that job on the next day. A phone call from my agent. They decided to go another way. The questions that I asked set the producers on guard and perhaps paved the way for a less stereotypical portrayal for the black actor that stepped into the role after me. Anybody that's ever been fired knows what I'm talking about. Even if you really don't want the job, when they let you go, it's like any breakup. You act like you don't care. I didn't need that damn job anyway. I didn't need them. But when you have those moments alone, you start to wonder if there was a better way to handle it. And if you could have handled it better, maybe you could help your family. And then before you know it, you're broke. And you find yourself scraping together change just so you can ride the subway so that you can get the next job. And maybe if you could book something else, that would eclipse the feeling of doubt that's building. But it seems like you can't pay them to hire you now.
This is actually quite important. The fact that if you have a choice between following your purpose and doing what's right compared to doing what's good for the bank, I think a lot of people have this question. It's like, do you follow your purpose or do you just do the job knowing that it's wrong, but you need the money, so you need to help your family? I think that's quite an interesting thing that he raises.
My agents at the time told me it might be a while before I got a job acting on screen again. As conflicted as I was before I lost the job, as adamant as I was about the need to speak truth to power, I found myself even more conflicted afterwards. Sometimes you need to get knocked down before you can really figure out what your fight is and how you need to fight it.
His work is going to stand as proof that if you follow your purpose, that anything is possible, and especially for people of color and the black community, those new upcoming filmmakers and the people that really want to inspire and make changes in the world. I think this film is going to be so important because it kind of proves that you can be the hero of your story as well. And that's the truth about Chadwick Boseman. He not only just played the role of Black Panther, but he lived it. He imbibed what it meant to be Black Panther. My thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends, and I hope those of you that are watching right now are all staying safe and well. Hopefully you learned something from this, that having a purpose in life is so important. Staying true to that and having faith is what it's all about.
We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe.
And I hope that one day we do act and behave as one tribe. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Wakanda forever.